North Carolina for the convenience store killing murder trial because the defendant, they have returned now from that jury view, and the judge decided to let the defendant take the stand. He's going to testify in his own defense. Let's get into that courtroom.
I will swear that the testimony to provide the court and the jury is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, sir, if you will state your first and last name for the record.
Taiseer Zarka.
If you will spell your first and last name for the record.
First name Taiseer, T-A-I-S-E-E-R. Last name Zarka, Z-A-R-K-A.
And sir, thank you for keeping your voice up like you're doing. Just be mindful of the fact that the court reporter is taking down everything you say, so please try not to speak too fast. And finally, if you'll allow for the attorney to ask the question, then you can respond in order to avoid talking to each other, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, this witness is with the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zarka, everybody seems to call you Taz. Do you have any problem with me referring to you that way?
That's okay, sir. That's fine.
Taz, where were you born?
In Gaza Strip, Palestine,
And when were you born?
January 19, 1963.
How old are you now?
61. This coming January 19th, I'll be 62.
How old were you on April the 4th of last year?
61.
Mr. Zarka, how tall are you?
About 5'9", 5'10".
How much do you weigh? Well, how much did you weigh in April of last year?
Approximately 170, 175 pounds.
Do you have any health issues?
Yes, sir.
And what are your health issues?
I have bladder and prostate cancer.
Okay. In April of 2023, were you being treated for cancer?
Yes, sir.
And were you receiving chemotherapy at that time?
Yes, sir.
And how did they do that?
Don't know the exact English word, catheter or something like that, but they inject chemical, liquid chemical.
And did they do that at your doctor's office?
Yes, sir.
And would you have to stay at the doctor's office until that was completed?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any effects of the chemotherapy that you were being given at that time?
It doesn't have an effect after.
Right. And how would it affect you?
It hurts the joint mainly and the bones.
Okay. Did you receive a treatment for your cancer on the morning of April the 6th of last year?
Yes, sir.
And as a result of that work, when did you go into work that day?
Yes, sir.
And when did you go into work?
I can't remember exactly what time, but I think it was in the afternoon, after 1 o'clock.
Okay. What kind of work do you do?
I own a convenience store, retail business.
Okay. That the store that's located at 207 South Wilmington Street that we all visited a little earlier this afternoon?
Yes, sir. That's a supermarket.
How long have you been in the convenience store or supermarket business?
Well, straight up for almost for the past, going into my 25 years. And before, when I was a student, I was also in retail business.
All right, well, let me ask you some things about your background, if I could. You indicated that you were born in Gaza and Palestine in 1963. Did you have an occasion to leave Palestine?
Yes, sir. Because of the circumstances, my dad moved us to Kuwait. My dad was the head auditor for the Ministry of Education in Kuwait.
And how long did you live in Kuwait the first time?
Until, I think, 1980.
In 1980, where did you move?
I came to Iraqi, North Carolina,
And why did you come here?
to go to college.
When you came here, where did you go to school?
My first semester was at Shaw University, downtown Raleigh.
Okay. And then can you tell me where else you went to school?
I went for almost a couple of years at East Carolina University in Greenville. And I went for a couple of years for associate at Kuwait Technical College. Then I went back to Shaw University and finished a double major in business management and accounting.
When was that?
I think in 1987, 1988.
Okay. After you finished college, what did you do?
I went back to Kuwait to be next to my family. And I worked in Kuwait for almost 12 years.
What kind of work did you do in Kuwait?
I worked in two fields, the field of shipping and logistics, and in the trading business.
And for how long were you in Kuwait for that particular time that you were there?
Almost 12 years.
So, were you in Kuwait when the Iraqis invaded Kuwait?
Yes, sir. Desert Storm, I was in Kuwait.
And how did that affect you?
Objection. Well, sustained.
During that period of time, did you provide any assistance to Americans who were living in Kuwait at the time of that invasion?
Well, sustained.
Counsel did not state a basis for the objection.
Relevance. Sustained.
Mr. Zarka, did you stay in Kuwait through the duration of that conflict?
Yes, sir.
And did you continue to stay in Kuwait after that?
Yes, sir.
Were you doing the same things after the invasion of Kuwait that you did before?
Yes, sir. When the invasion of Kuwait happened, after it, I was still in the logistics and the shipping business, and that's where my service is much needed.
Okay. What kind of logistics and shipping were you doing at the time?
Well, anything you move by air, ocean, or land, I could do it for you. And especially after through the contractor, which we were helping the...
Objection. Well. Mr. Newton and Mr. Latour, if you will approach, please.
All right, Taiseer Zarka, 61 years old, born in Gaza, was in Kuwait. This happened in 1990, the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. So that gives you sort of a good foundation of who we're dealing with. I know you have some feelings about him.
I like his demeanor. I think that is something that will be well received by the jury if he maintains this throughout his examination and cross.
Yeah, and we heard he's kind of a gentleman, nice guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of what he's coming across
Yeah,
as.
I agree.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get you back into that courtroom for more testimony. Keep it here on Court TV.
to North Carolina, where a convenience store owner is standing trial for murder.
Prosecutors say that Taiseer Zarka stabbed a 27-year-old customer, Mark Garrity, in the heart in April of last year.
Zarka, on the other hand, claims he was acting in self-defense while he was trying to stop Garrity from stealing a Gatorade from his store.
Let's go back into court now. The jury was actually sent out after that last sidebar, and now the attorneys are back arguing in front of the judge.
Let the record reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Yes, sir, Mr. Newsom.
I'm seeking to elucidate from the defendant, who is the most crucial piece of evidence on his behalf for his defense. Inquiring into his background, his development, his life experience as a human being, as that may relate to the development of his character, his reputation, and ultimately his credibility with this jury in terms of whether they want to believe him or not. If I need to ask more so that we can have a proffer so the court can understand what the questions were and what his answer would be to those, I would like to do that.
That'll be fine. The reason why the court had a concern, there was an objection, and I sustained it. At one point, I believe you asked him about the war and what he did to help Americans during the war. There was an objection. I sustained it. I did not think it was relevant. But do you need to be heard first before a potential proffer? So let anything out on the record.
I don't mind if he gives a proffer. Obviously, what we discussed at the bench was this very thing, that it appeared that he was attempting to elicit history about this defendant and his assistance in a war in the 90s. I don't know how that is relevant to what occurred on this occasion some decades later. And I would argue that the probative value of that is is outweighed by any attempt to just ingratiate him to the jury to seek sympathy for what he has experienced in the past, rather than his actual state of mind at the exact moment of what occurred, which is what is at issue in this at this moment.
What I will do, Mr. Newsom, I'm going to allow you to make a proffer. And I would...
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Zarka, can you tell me about the experience and what happened with the invasion of Kuwait and what you personally did in the course of that period of time?
Our country was down in 48 hours. It was a big chaos. All nationalities were trying to run out of the country, either through airport, and it was a very short time for people to escape, some by land. There was no way to go by sea through the Gulf. So either they go north, which is Iraq, and they're not going to go north because the Iraqis were coming down. Kuwait is the south part of Iraq, or go to Saudi Arabia. From a personal level, I did my part, and from a professional level, I did also a great part to be there to the American civilians, or even to the American Army at the first American base in Kuwait called Camp Doha, through my shipping and logistic career.
What did you do personally to be of assistance?
On the personal level, the Iraqis, I don't know, it was order from the army or a personal movement. They were trying to capture any foreign identity, English, French, Americans. And in Kuwait, we had American University and we had American high school. And I managed gracefully to, in a small minibus, to make almost 40 trips to take American families with kids to the Saudi border and come back. And it was unfortunate the last trip because one of them had left his passport in one of the seats. And when I get from the Saharas, from the sand to the main road, it the checkpoint, they checked the car, they found the passport, and it was actually physically for almost 4 to 5 days it was hanging with one arm. That's why I still have dislocated arm until now.
And is that injury to your arm something that affects you today?
Until now, yes.
In your the service with your logistical company, who was that service provider?
I was a manager at #1 freight forwarding company called the biggest group in the Gulf called Al Industries. And at that time, after the liberation, the American Army started the first base in Kuwait called Camp Doha, D-O-H-A. And because of my American degree and me knowing all the formalities and the procedures in land, sea, and ocean, I was handling almost 75% of anything our army had imported to Kuwait from a match to airplane spare parts. And I will make sure that everything cleared, properly delivered, also through the customs from any of the areas of Kuwait to go to the warehouses for our army in Kuwait.
All right, thank you, sir. That is the testimony that I wanted to elicit from that period of time is in Kuwait. And
You're just joining us. The jury has been excused so they could do a proffer to determine by the judge what evidence comes in or not. And Michael, this is his background, and the defense says, well, that builds to his character, reputation, credibility. It should be allowed to come in.
Yeah, the issue is relevance. Why is it relevant? He did a wonderful thing during that conflict in Kuwait. He helped out American families 4 times. He said he took a minivan, took them to the border, to the Saudi border, because they were in trouble.
Right.
He actually got caught, was hung by his arms. He still suffers the problems from that. Hung for 4 or 5 days.
4 to 5 days.
By his arms, and still suffers some problems from that.
Yeah.
How is that relevant to what happened in the store that day? It's a stretch.
I'm not sure it's a stretch.
Yeah,
I think so too. Let's bring in our guest, trial attorney Lateef Gray. What do you think, Lateef? Is it a stretch or not to deem this relevant and allow it to come in front of the jury?
Well, it appears like it's character evidence, like the defense attorney is trying to make him seem like he's a good guy who loves this country. But it could also go to his particular sensibilities and why he possibly felt the need to defend himself in the manner in which he did during this incident. So I would have liked a little more explanation as to what he actually saw while he was over there in Gaza and these different countries. But I could see how a defense attorney could try to use this to bolster his self-defense defense.
And let's just clarify, if it's character evidence, typically it would not be allowed, correct?
Yeah, it's not allowed. And what is argued by the defense here, Lateef, is they think it goes to his credibility, that by establishing this type of thing, this type of character, it establishes credibility, which will, of course, bolster him as he begins to testify in front of the jury. Do you agree?
Well, that's what the defense attorney is supposed to say. You know, credibility is all, and believability is important for every witness. So I see why the defense attorney is trying to do this. It's a roundabout way to get in character evidence. But I think a stronger argument would have been, you know, this particular situation explains, or partly explains, why he felt the need to defend himself in the manner in which he did during this incident. So he's using it to claim credibility, but he could have tried to use it to bolster his self-defense claim.
But do you think it's appropriate to give context to his actions? So if you, let's say, live through a conflict like that Kuwait conflict, does that give him more of a right to perhaps be more violent under certain circumstances?
I'm not saying it gives him more of a right to be more violent, but it could explain why he did what he did. You know, these certain sensibilities may have made him more prone to react the way he did, which in this case, he stabbed a man 3 times over a bottle of Gatorade. So it could.
I don't think it should come in for this. I think it could come in sentencing if he's convicted, but I think some of this shouldn't come in. So we're going to see what the judge does. We're going to hear more of the proffer on the other side and the judge's ruling. Stay with us.
Tonight, on Closing Arguments, a kayaker who allegedly faked his own death and fled the country is now in custody. We're diving deeper into this case as our experts weigh in.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV. Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9, 8 Central, only on Court TV.
Welcome back, folks. We're heading back to North Carolina, where a jury is hearing from defendant Taiseer Zarka, who has taken the witness stand in his own defense.
Now, he is charged with second-degree murder for the fatal stabbing of a customer who he says was trying to steal a Gatorade bottle from him in his convenience store in April of last year.
All right, let's go back into court now to hear the judge's ruling on that proffer of Zarka's testimony about his time in Kuwait.
I am trying to elicit this testimony and evidence for the purpose of establishing this man's credibility and for the purpose of establishing that he is a good man. And I believe that his background and experience such as this is completely relevant and should be admitted.
Mr. Garrity, sorry.
Him being a good man is not what is at issue in this case. His general character has been testified to by 5 witnesses about peacefulness. This testimony has nothing to do with his ability or his reputation for peacefulness in this community. The only thing that I would argue and would concede is likely relevant from this information is that he has an arm injury or had an arm injury. I think he could testify that if he suffers from any ailments, just as he did with the cancer, which I am very sad to hear, but that, I didn't object to that. I would not object to if he testified, I have an arm injury that bothers me to this day that I suffered during my time that I lived in Kuwait. But this whole history of his logistics and saving children, which may be admirable, is not relevant for anything that this jury has to decide in this case.
All right, thank you. The court is going to indicate that first, as far as the temporal, the time between the date of this offense, which is April the 6th of 2023, and the invasion of Kuwait, I think the DA said the 90s. I'm not a history buff, but that being the case, the time, first of all, is the relevance as far as what happened then and the offense date. I don't see how him assisting, I believe he said some Americans, maybe 40 trips to the border, that being the Saudi Arabia border. I don't see how that's relevant to this matter. I do agree that he mentioned his injury. I will allow for him to testify about his arm injury, but not as to how it occurred and when it occurred as far as dealing with the war and so forth. He can indicate, yes, I suffered an injury and I had an issue with my arm. It was dislocated. And if he said it bothers him to this day, if that's what the testimony will be, that's fine. But to indicate to this jury that he's allowed to testify about what he did or may not have done in Kuwait, because this is respectfully what he is telling or wanting to tell the jury. I have no indication other than what he's telling, or would like to tell this jury. I have no indication of the veracity of that, but more importantly, as to the relevance of that. This case is about second-degree murder. This case is not about what he may or may not have done to assist Americans during the invasion of Kuwait and Afghanistan. It's not about that. I don't see a relevant line that he can draw other than to ingratiate himself to the jury for sympathy, indicating that based on what he says, he's helped Americans in the past. That's admirable, but that is not admissible. Therefore, the objection is sustained. All right, in your assume you're objecting to my ruling, so noted for the record. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Newsom.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we can bring the jury back here.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Judge, what do you think of the ruling? The judge will not allow him to testify about the good deeds and the admirable deeds that he performed in Kuwait to help American families, including children, but he can't talk about his injuries.
I agree with the ruling. I agree it's not relevant. We're here for second-degree murder, but I also agree, and the state conceded, that as to the fact he was injured, that can come in, just not how he was injured.
I think it's big that he suffered from cancer, and on the day that this happened, he was getting injections.
Yeah.
He was still getting injections for it. I think that's extremely important to this case, and if he adds in the fact that he had these injuries, all those things are going to play very heavily, I think, in a juror's decision.
I agree with you, but if they did get into him helping Americans in Kuwait, I agree with the judge that that would have just tried to ingratiate him to the sympathy of the jury, which is not, it means it's not admissible for that reason. So I think the judge made a good decision.
Yeah, again, and the whole point is to figure out what happened in that store.
Yes.
So you got to try to limit the amount of other information that comes in.
That's right. That was a fascinating proffer. All right, thank you to Lateef Gray for joining us this hour.
Folks, stick around. Coming up, testimony resumes from the defendant Taiseer Zarka. He's still on the stand, so keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala.
And I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Court TV is tracking several big cases in Florida. Twin brothers and real estate moguls Orrin and Alon Alexander appear in state court in Florida for a bail hearing after being charged with 3 sexual assaults. Now, the judge granted their request for bail, but the brothers will remain in custody along with their other third brother because they all face federal charges of sex trafficking in New York.
And in Vermont, the jury returns a quick verdict in the Van life and death murder trial of Joseph Ferlazzo.
In North Carolina, the defendant in the killing in a convenience store trial takes the stand in his own defense. And his name is Taiseer Zarka. He's accused in the stabbing death of a man in his store.
Now, Zarka claims that he was defending himself after getting into an altercation with Mark Garrity over an alleged stolen bottle of Gatorade. Well, Zarka is now on the witness stand, so let's get all back into court.
Mr. Zarka, without telling me how you sustained the injury, did you sustain an injury to one of your arms when you were in Iraq, in Kuwait?
Yes, sir. My right arm.
And what kind of injury did you receive?
Dislocation.
Okay. And does that injury still cause you problems to this day?
Yes, sir.
Why did you decide to come back to the United States from Kuwait?
Just for better future for the kids. Getting away from the war zone.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 beautiful children.
How old are they?
I have a son, he's 28 years old. And a daughter, she's 24 years old. And a daughter, she's 8 years old.
I take it the older children are grown up and they do not live with you?
Yes, sir.
Do you share custody of your 8-year-old daughter?
Yes, I do.
Now, when you decided to come back to the United States in 2000, did you come back to the United States in the year 2000?
Yes, sir. I came back to America in the year 2000. I had a good job offer to work for a shipping company up in Baltimore, Maryland. And also at the same year, 2000, there was a very big international kind of examination that the Canadian government they do. And they actually granted me a landing, which is also kind of residency in Canada in the year 2000 to join the Iraqi Chamber of Commerce over there due to my experiences.
And why did you decide not to go to or stay in Canada?
It's too cold.
Okay. So when did you moved into Raleigh at sometime in 2000, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What kind of work did you do when you finally came to Raleigh or settled into Raleigh?
I had the choice to go back to the corporate world or just to be on my own. And I studied the market, what is the best implementation for supply and demand, and something that I can deal with people. And I really found it in retail. I mean, everybody goes to the convenience store. Everybody always wants something. It's recession-free. And I mean, less danger, better than restaurants. And also, I like it. I like it dealing with all kind of people, races, you know. You get to know a lot of people.
Did you just open up a store, or how did that happen?
Yeah, after I made a decision that I want to be in retail, I got into the gas station business and convenience stores.
And did that start with one store?
I started with one to a point of time in downtown Raleigh. I had 4 of them.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But now, I guess I'm getting older. I can't handle the pressure anymore. Too many hours.
How long have you had your store at 207 South Wilmington Street?
I think this one, I took the license for it to open in 2007, 2008.
Okay. And so, $16, $17 years?
Yes, sir, this location, but I had other location before it on South Wilmington Street also.
Okay. How long had Mr. Philip Horwitz, who testified a little while ago, how long have you known him, and how long has he been a landlord for you?
Over 20 years, 21, 22 years, something like that.
So was he a landlord at one of the other locations before you opened 207?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me about the store. I know the jury has seen it, but when is it open? When does it close? What do you sell, and what do you personally do there?
Yes. I'm open 7 days a week. During the weekdays until 12 o'clock. On Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we stay open till 2 o'clock in the morning. But we open 6 a.m. every day. And I merchandise everything as much as I can, have the variety of all kind of drinks, soft drinks, juices, sundries, candies, house supplies, tobacco products. Got the best beer selection in town, the best wine selection in town. I try to be picky.
What kind of hours did you personally work at the store?
Oh, yes, sir. Until really started feeling really bad with that cancer, I am there every single day. This is my schedule. 5 o'clock I'm up, shower, do my morning prayers. 5:30 I'm in downtown. I lock the door behind me, get the fresh coffee ready, turn my radio, my favorite radio station on, and 6 o'clock sharp, the sign is open. 6 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm out of the shop.
Okay, do you have other people who work for you?
Yes, I do.
Now, in doing the business that you do and dealing with general customers, excuse me, do you have problems with people shoplifting or stealing items from you?
See, sir, I am a public business, and we get them all. I mean, I'll be behind the register. At the same line, there'll be an engineer, a DA, a homeless, a thief, a breacher. You know, downtown is a collective area. It has everybody. People come to visit downtown, people come to courts in downtown, people come. I'm very close to the main bus station of the capital of the state of North Carolina. So that's a protected traffic. And everybody, a lot of people ride the bus regardless to what their job description. And I serve all. I average almost 600 to 700 walk-ins a day, over 20,000 a month. So I get them all. You know, I'm a high traffic store.
How often?
All right, joining us on this Friday, as always, for our Fridays with Franz, is former assistant prosecutor, current criminal defense attorney, Franz Borghardt. Franz, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. First and foremost, I want to get your reaction to, I mean, it was pretty clear Taz was going to and needed to take the stand in this case. I think he's doing fairly well so far, coming across very genteel, coming across as a very nice man. Lots of character evidence to support that at this point. Your thoughts?
He's a likable defendant. He's a likable defendant that is also lovable. And it sounds like everybody likes this guy. You know, comes to this country to give his family and himself a better life. So that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Now, the question becomes, is that going to be enough to justify his stabbing of this shoplifter, or is the jury going to say too much? You know, you don't have to take the life in your own hands over a Gatorade. But so far, so good. He's doing an excellent job. And this is, by the way, guys, this is a defense attorney's dream. A good witness, a good client that can get up there and tell his story that doesn't have a lot of warts. So, I mean, that's the best case scenario. And Michael, you said it yourself. He said he was going to testify. He's now testifying.
But what do we do, Franz, if you have a juror? Now, I've not seen the entire video because obviously we can't and won't show the graphic nature of the actual stabbing, but I've seen all the rest of the video from inside on the day of the crime. What if a juror watches that and says, no, that wasn't self-defense, I don't see where that was self-defense at all, and then they hear from the defendant and they find him likable, lovable, to use your words, and they believe his version? How do they reconcile if they're two different things?
So the video is one component of a self-defense case. We take the defendant, the person who's saying, hey, I was acting in self-defense. We take him based on what he observed in real time, which includes the video, but is not exclusive to the video. We take his experience, his knowledge. We take the whole package. And you know what? He gets a chance to say, this is what I believe was happening, and this is why I did what I did. And even if this is the best part about our justice system, even if it contradicts the video, it doesn't necessarily mean he's lying. It just means that that is his truth, which sounds weird, but can absolutely sway a jury and reconcile them to say, you know what? Maybe he was acting in his mind in self-defense. It's also very easy for a jury to say, in my mind at least, hey, maybe it was too much, but you know what? This guy was shoplifting, and you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's the phrase we've heard before. And this is why we don't want people shoplifting, because this kind of stuff sometimes happens. There's any number of ways, Judge, they can reconcile what the video shows and what he testifies to. And look, they can even nullify. They have the right to say, notwithstanding the fact he was maybe acting too harshly and with too much force, we don't think we should convict this guy. And that they have that right too.
So far, he has an excellent demeanor, Michael. I mean, I'm leaning into what he's telling us.
Yeah, and again, you know, to Franz's point about playing stupid games and getting stupid prizes, you know, a stupid game could be bringing a knife to try to confront a shoplifter, right? Because that game ends up with somebody being stabbed or somebody hurt just about every time.
And you can argue he started it. Yeah,
no question.
So we'll see. All right.